Alright, welcome back to the fourth video, guys. As a whole, this is about Legendary Interaction. Since there's like nothing on Legendary Interaction, I thought I would go ahead and do this. This is also part of 5-colored tool deck building. I guess this is part of a series now, since doing 1 and 2 videos is kind of hard to do, so I'm going to break it down piece by piece, and this is just fun interaction. This is, again, the multiplayer variation, and if you guys are interested, I could always do more about legendary artifacts, enchantments, instant sorceries, and of course planeswalkers. But that's really simple, because all you just need is A, mana, B, planeswalkers, C, protection. Not condoms. So yeah, there you go, that's about it. But you gotta also understand, this is my own deck variation. Let me try to zoom in here a little bit here. So first we got defensive cards: Avacyn, Kazul, Kira, Dragonlord, Dromoka. Dragonlord Dromoka is by far the best because you can tutor it with Scion, and the fact it prevents him from even casting anything during your turn. Especially if you're going to do some big combos, Rise from the Dark Realms, or whatever combos you want to use to win. Kira. This can backfire occasionally because it affects your ability to equip cards like Godsend. Godsend, you would have to pay 6 mana in order to equip something, and then someone can swords it. So it's definitely problematic at times, but it's pretty legit. Kazul. Legendary propaganda, but it's kind of funny because it's ass backwards, and the fact that if they don't pay 3, you'll get a 3/3 creature that can survive, Elesh Norn and some other card effects, especially if someone's using a Sword of the Feast and Famine, because that's protection from black and green. So the ogre part really doesn't matter, but the fact that it's a 5/4 that you can have fun with, as well as it provides additional creature tokens, and the fact that they have to pay to swing for you to not get creature tokens. It's just overall a hassle. Avacyn. One of the best cards, and also one of the hardest cards to get into play because it costs 8 mana, which is about the same as Sheoldred and Elesh Norn over there, but it is also the same as Maelstrom Wander, but the triple white can be problematic at times. Still, it's easier to cast her, get her on the field than, say, Kozilek over there. Kozilek or Ulamog, and I'm talking about the Graveyard Shufflers, the ones that say, cast this, you cast this and you get effect, and when it goes from anywhere to the graveyard, trigger, shuffle your graveyard into your library. So yeah, prevents you from being milled out in general. So yeah, that's about it. It's a good beater, works pretty well. So we've got Yosei. You can tutor it with your general. If somebody's going to do a board wipe, you can obviously reanimate it, or you can use Feldon to do a soft lock on someone, because Feldon just says sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, not exile, sacrifice it. And you could also reanimate it a few times. It also works well with Yumiji, who bars the way to get it back to your hand if you're going to sack it for something. Venser it doubles down as a soft counterspell, but it also allows you to bounce things that are uncounterable and really obnoxious. Or you can bounce that Maelstrom Wander back to your hand after getting the 2 Cascade triggers. Or even Kozilek, because that's also casting trigger, along with Prosh and a few other cards with casting triggers. They're really solid. Empress Galena utility allows you to steal target legendary permit. It's been errated to basically legendary permit. This is a new card. The Human Wizard is kind of interesting, but it's basically historic, as in artifacts and legendaries, sagas, Haven't really come across any that are too impressive in my opinion, but there's a few that you might like, so go ahead and try them out. But basically, legendaries and artifacts have flash. Very useful. Sakashima, the legendary cologne, the one that went up to like, I want to say $15 or $20, is really good. Very strong, and I've almost never used a secondary ability, which is pay for and bounce back to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Urabrask. He is actually smack dab in between, defensively and offensively. Why? Because it keeps your opponents from killing you when they do a huge, I can't think of this spell, but it's a sorcery that allows you to dump X number of cards or X number of permanents on the battlefield, or dump until you hit a non-permanent card. God, it's those green spells that allows other people to dump creatures on the battlefield and just straight win. It prevents that and gives your guys haste. Maelstrom Wanderer gives your stuff haste too, as well as Akronos Memorial, but he's the cheapest and the most affordable of all the 5 Praetors. Because if you haven't noticed, I've done the green Praetor, the blue Praetor, the black Praetor, and the white Praetor. All of them, I've built the deck around. I should actually do it like this. Child of Laura is a board wipe. He is the legendary board wipe. Neverall's Disc and, there's a Neverall's Disc creature variant, which is a non-legendary version of Child of Laura. But this says all non-land permanents. The creature, which is a white wizard variant of Neverall's Disc, hits artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. That's it. It's basically Neverall's Disc, but I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. Alright, moving on. We got legendary tutors here. Runescar Demon is better than Sidisi as a whole because A, it flies, and B, it's got a good sized body, and C, it costs, I want to say it costs 1 more, it costs 6 mana. Sidisi has Death Touch and is a zombie, so it works really well in zombie decks as well as other small areas, like if you need to kill stuff off. It also works really well with cards like Felden of the Third Path there, because you can reanimate something instantly and bam, sack something they're trying to Swords to Plowshare or Path to Exile. Legendary Tutor as well. Cam Sisse is really useful, very affordable, very budget, and works best outside of her colors because white and green have decent cards, but stuff like black with reanimation, red with haste, or Maelstrom Wanderer to get card advantage. Even something like Crewfix, Jin-Taxis, Tasigur, they give you card advantage. Very, very important. Speaking card advantage, Riki, whenever you play a legendary spell, not lands, because they're not spells. He's also 1/2. Yeah, he's kind of weak. He's kind of like Edric over here, but the difference is it's casting trigger versus combat damage, which is also a trigger. Maelstrom Wanderer is card advantage and gives your guys haste. Cascade, very beautiful. Try not to run too many counter spells. That guy just doesn't like them. Kozilek, he doubles down as card advantage, graveyard shuffling, and Annihilator 4 if you're trying to win. And he's an Eldrazi, so you know, why not? If you like Eldrazi, he's pretty good. Now, fits in to card advantage, but also graveyard recursion in a very different sense. Yumiji, who bars the way, plus the flavor is so awesome. First off, a legendary permanent other than him is put in the graveyard from play. Get that card back to its owner's hands. The flavor text is really good too, but also brutal. Now, before I did some mixing, in the very core of this deck, I had Machias Unhallowed and I had Gave. So sack outlets and removing the Undying, basically the +1/+1 counters, which come off of Undying to make infinite mana, along with what was that artifact? It's, along with Ashnod's Altar to make infinite mana. I've never used that combo once. It's a 3-card combo, and like I said, I've never used it once. But it works. It's pretty good too. Grand Arbiter, I forgot, is also sort of like mana fixing, but it's like the Praetors, where it makes your stuff cheaper and it makes theirs more expensive. So Elesh Norn is sort of like a mini board wipe in a very small sense, but it really crushes token decks and it beefs your stuff up, and it's pretty good. The new white-black Arvad, which is, I want to say it's a flying 3/3 vampire that is a gives your other legendary creatures +2/+2, is okay, but it doesn't hurt your opponents. Shieldred reanimates at the beginning of your upkeep and is a 6/6 legendary Praetor with Swamp Walk, but it also kills creatures, makes the opponent's sacrifice a creature at the beginning of each of their upkeeps. Teneb works well with Scion because you could turn into pay 2 mana, turn into a 6/6, pay additional 3 mana if you can hit them. Works well with Boros Charm to give a double strike, and a few other cards to give a double strike to get double triggers. Very useful. Jin Taxis costs 10 mana. I've only seen him play like 2 games on my side of the field, that is. Other people have reanimated, and it's just brutal when someone else gets it because it could literally crush them out of the game because of the whole flash. Or, excuse me, because of the whole your hand size is reduced by 7. That's the killer right there. Drawing 7 cards and then flash is pretty decent, but it's just brutal, man. It's something I don't really like, but it was a gift by someone else, so I've kept it in there as part of the 5 Praetor cycle. It's just too good. Gitrog, it's a 6/6 legendary frog with a leg sticking out of his mouth that allows you to A, draw, and B, play additional lands. The sacking lands, there's really only one land that works with it. Pull it out real quick for you. Flagstone's a Troikair because that's the only card that allows you to land ramp. Other cards, that's really about it. The other lands, you just kind of have to hope that they're less useful lands that you sacrifice. Land ramp, that comes at a cost. Selvala, it's a card that allows you to A, make mana, B, draw cards, and occasionally gain life. The downside is you're helping your opponents probably more than you want, but it costs 3 mana like a normal mana rock, and it's a 2/4, so it's a decent wall. We got Kruphix over there. It works wonders. I repeat, it works wonders with Anawarn Shaku, because then it just turns, it's basically, you tap both of them to make 2 mana, and it's just good. It's good overall. Vorinclex is a 7/6 trampling mana. It's a 7/6 trampling one-sided Dictator Karametra. Your lands tap for double. Their lands, whenever they tap 4 mana, not for utility, like Minimo, which you can use for utility purposes. It will prevent them from, it just makes them, they can't untap during their next untap step. Seedborn Muse and a few other cards will get around that. Titania is land ramp as well, so Feldon of the Third Path is A, to utility, B, reanimation, limited reanimation, C, if you want to use the artifact variant, by all means go for it. This could be really cool in, like, say, a Sidri deck, or that legendary Sphinx, the Esper Sphinx. I'm blanking on the name. Parash just makes creature tokens, and it's a sack outlet. You can also tutor it with Scion, so it's pretty legit. Let's see what else. That's about it. So, you keep in mind when you're doing stuff like utility, defense, in between offense and defense, board wipes, reanimation, card draw, / mana ramp, / mana dorks, you want to have a good, healthy balance of them all, because the foundation is very important, or else the deck itself will fail most of the time. It's frustrating. It'll take a while, but if you keep at it, you will get it, and you'll probably like it.